Recently introduced to the Tenet lineup is the Glaxion. This version is a direct hitting chain beam weapon with innate cold. So how do you get it, and what is it good for? I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. Now normally I'd start off videos like this with how to get the weapon before we actually use it. For Tenet weapons however, it's important to know some of how we'll use it, as that determines how we go about getting it. Like all Tenet weapons, the Glaxion will have a progenitor bonus based on the Warframe you were using at the time of creating the Sister of Parvos. The magnitude of the bonus is random, you only get to select the type according to this table here. Impact is a terrible choice. Yes, you get to add impact procs for opening up finishes, and you can convert those to slash procs for damage using internal bleeding. I previously explained in my video on internal bleeding why that's not worth it. Cold will meld into the existing weapon's cold indistinguishably. It's a safe choice, but also a pointless one. Magnetic and radiation are also safe choices, as they are pre-combined types and won't combine with anything else. Magnetic currently is a weaker type than radiation, though this may change in an upcoming update. However, radiation can be added to the Glaxion later via radiated reload, which makes magnetic better for maximizing unique status options. As for heat, electric and toxin, they run into the rules surrounding hate set. Again, I have a guide on that whole topic already. To sum it up with the Glaxion, its innate cold damage and progenitor element act as mods in an invisible final slot when it comes to element combination, after all actual mods. The order of priority in this hidden slot is heat, cold, electric, then toxin, hence H-set. With a heat progenitor, you have innate access to blast damage. You can use a single mod for rad cold or gas cold, 2 mods for magnetic heat or viral heat with low focus on heat, or corrosive blast, or 3 mods for any of a variety of choices including decent viral heat. With an electric progenitor, you have innate access to magnetic damage, you can use a single mod for viral electric or blast electric, 2 mods for gas magnetic, rad cold or corrosive cold, or 3 mods for a variety mix. Electric progenitor makes viral heat a non-option, but does allow viral electric. With a toxin progenitor, you have innate access to viral damage, can use a single mod for blast toxin or magnetic toxin, 2 mods for rad viral, gas cold or corrosive cold, or 3 mods for again a variety of choices including viral heat or viral electric, both with an overdose of viral. The major differences between these options is what choices it then presents you. If you're sure you specifically want a viral heat Glaxion, heat is the best progenitor for it to get maximum heat output. If you're looking for a modless viral on an otherwise pure slash build, use toxin progenitor. Or if you want the greatest flexibility to be able to switch between setups with a minimum impact on your mod choices, then use magnetic for the unique status to boost Galvanized Aptitude's damage potential. For me personally, I've chosen to go for a magnetic progenitor. The flexibility is worth it. This goes double as D are looking to make changes soon to how damage types and some status effects work in the game. Also, magnetic is a Lavos element, so I guess it's just on brand. Once you've picked the element you want, you need to get the weapon. The Sisters of Parvos aren't new, so I'll cover the acquisition in brief. Complete the War Within and Call of Tempestari quests. If you need a Granum Crown, go to Pluto Acheron, run the mission. Normal mode is fine, but don't go overly quick. Find one of these treasures, kill him for the Granum Crown. You can instantly strip his shields with Styanax's Tharo Strike or Oniru's Magnetic Flare, especially useful if you're on Steel Path. Equip your chosen progenitor frame and set yourself to solo. Now go to Pluto Hydra. Find a golden hand. If you don't find one before you trigger the capture target to run away, cancel the mission and retry. It's important to find the golden hand first to give the best chance of a sister candidate spawning. Interact with the golden hand, use the top level crown. Destroy the spectres, at least 25 solo, more if you didn't listen when I told you to go solo. Continue the capture mission, kill the treasure who spawns to get your crown back, wound the sister candidate who spawns and check what weapon they're holding. It's best to avoid cold procs here, as that slows down the reveal. If the weapon is right, mercy them and complete the mission. If the weapon is wrong, ignore them, complete the mission, and repeat the process from step 5. Now to kill your sister. With a loadout of choice, either public or solo, go run the marked mission node she oversees, stab her dog, learn her password, chant some Void Tongue, knife her repeatedly, chase her into space, storm her office in front of a boss, and get her posthumously fired for being stabbed. Again. Weapon acquired. The Tenet Glaxion is a chaining targeted beam weapon with 30 meter base range. Unlike the normal Glaxion, it has no radial effect, functioning more like the Amprex rather than the Glaxion or Ignis. The Tenet Glaxion may chain up to 3 times, each chain with a range of 7 meters from the previous enemy in the chain, applying full status but only half damage with each chain multiplicatively. By the 4th enemy in the chain, the damage has dropped down to only 12.5%. Worse still, the chain only aims for center of mass, meaning you'll almost never get headshots on a chained hit. For critical hits, this means losing both the headshot multiplier of up to 3 times and the critical headshot 2 times bonus, approximately reducing your damage 6-fold. In effect, the 4th enemy in the chain will receive close to 2% of the damage applied to the first enemy when you land critical headshots. This downscaling of damage also applies to the damage dealt by status procs from the weapon. As a result, although the Tenet Glaxion does chain, you'll find the vast majority of your damage will come from directly targeting an enemy with headshots as a precision beam weapon. Even in ideal circumstances, the chained enemies will take a combined damage of around 15% compared to a direct critical headshot. What this means is you should focus fire on heavy units, allowing the chains to either soften up or outright kill the weaker nearby units. The Tenet Glaxion does come with very middle ground critical chance of just 20%, paired against a very high 40% status chance and exceptional ammo economy. This compared to the Amprex, which has a 32% critical chance, only 22% status chance, and 25% worse, but still plenty good, ammo economy. To make up for the crit loss, the Tenet Glaxion boasts nearly double the base damage with even the weakest progenitor bonus, climbing to almost 2.5 times higher damage with a max progenitor versus the Amprex. Combined with the status output, this more than makes up the difference. Lastly, of particular note, the Tenet Glaxion benefits positively from punch-through bonuses. When it strikes additional enemies with a main beam due to punch-through, those additional enemies start their own chain of hits independently of the original chain. This bonus chain may hit the same or different nearby enemies in ways you can't reliably control, but ultimately means you can multiply your output by roughly the number of enemies you can line up for a single beam. So let's break down some modding. From my experience, the Tenet Glaxion's precision damage and comparatively weak chains makes it a great choice for direct damage building using galvanized scope and primary deadhead like this. The spread of status effects of cold, magnetic and corrosive will make killing chained enemies very easy after dispatching your initial target. You can instead swap out to viral magnetic, losing a unique status, slow effect and armor strip in favour of bonus damage to health outright. If you are using the corrosive approach, I strongly recommend using a pair of Emerald Archon shards or 1 Tau Forged. At full stacks, this setup will reach 14 corrosive procs per target in an average of 0.4 seconds. With that achieved, precision headshots will output around 150,000 damage every 10th of a second before considering cold procs. I'm measuring in tenths of a second there, crucially to demonstrate the sheer speed of damage application. A fully armor stripped corrupted bombard level 200 for example, only has 113,000 health on Steel Path. This build, fully stacked, would have such a target dead in at most half a second. If we had instead gone for a heat viral build, reliant on status damage, we'd have to wait a full second for the heat procs to start dealing that damage. This damage output, as usual, can be further enhanced externally through the use of a companion with Reinforced Bond and Tenacious Bond. I use this Worm Prime normally, in addition to the use of Arcane Avenger. Arcane Avenger is especially potent on Tenet Glaxion due to its mid-ground critical chance, functioning effectively like a 225% critical chance mod. As the Tenet Glaxion is highly ammo efficient, status focused, and doesn't have a high critical chance, I recommend using Point Strike over Critical Delay for optimal results. That said, the difference is relatively small, so it's not the end of the world if you have to take the negative to fire rate for polarity reasons. Once you complete level 25 of Nora's Mix Volume 6, you'll obtain the Glaxion mod Photon Overcharge. We don't have access to it just yet, so I'm speculating simply on it being compatible with all mods, like most augments. Photon Overcharge provides 90% critical damage bonus, and an energy orb drop rate enhancement based on cold procs on the target. Firstly, that's another reason to use Corrosive Cold instead of Heat Viral. Secondly, we can replace one of our existing critical mods for this one. Replacing Vital Sense is a poor idea, as you objectively step down in power, but you do get the energy orb still. Replacing Point Strike removes your fixed critical chance bonus, but with a max stat galvanized scope, you get the highest potential damage output and the energy orb bonuses. Replacing galvanized scope instead keeps an unconditional critical chance bonus, granting a higher minimum output but a lower maximum output versus removing Point Strike. So using Photon Overcharge instead of Point Strike, again assuming no compatibility issues and using Arcane Avenger, is going to be a direct upgrade to the build and otherwise with no real quirk of note. For a different approach, certainly against enemies which are harder to headshot, we can use a viral heat setup. What this lacks in both direct damage and augment utility, it gains in long-term output, especially on single targets. This is because heat infinitely refreshes and stacks on itself. We have to swap out the headshot kill conditionals if using status kills, dropping Galvanized Scope for Hellfire and Deadhead for Merciless. Due to the balance of status chance and elemental modding, there's no benefit to downranking the viral mods here, only downsides. Keep them fully ranked up unless you're using an external source of heat bonus like Fireball Frenzy. This build is specifically tuned to work with a steady flow of hard to headshot enemies, granting you the heat kills at a good enough rate to keep all stacks active. You can also do the same with the slightest tweak to get a viral slash build with Hunter Munitions. Drop Hellfire for Hunter Munitions and make sure to use an external critical buff such as Arcane Avenger to get close to or over 100% critical chance. It's still not worth swapping in critical delay over point strike though. This will again give you a status damage build without headshots being required, but you'll still benefit hugely from aiming properly where possible thanks to the headshot damage benefits. Broadly speaking, the corrosive setup will be stronger, as removing armor rapidly beats waiting on slash procs. If you've yet to reach Steel Path, an exceptionally ordinary, dare I say old school setup like this will do you plenty fine until you obtain Galvanized mods and Acolyte Arcanes. Overall, the Tenet Glaxion is actually a very simple weapon. Easy to aim, easy to use, easy to understand. It's no Incarnon, but it's still plenty effective. If you've enjoyed this video, support the channel on Patreon for more behind the scenes. That's all from me on this topic, so as always, proc chills, get kills, and fight well, Tenno.